Every purchase you've made this week carried a confession. A quiet one, buried under convenience and habit, but a confession all the same. Your wallet is a mirror, and most people spend their entire lives avoiding what it reflects. By the end of this, you'll see the invisible script running beneath every dollar you spend, and you'll know how to rewrite it. Think about the last thing you bought on impulse. The coffee, the app subscription, the late-night online order you barely remember placing. On the surface, these look like choices. Ordinary, small, meaningless, but Neville Goddard taught something that cuts straight through that illusion. Your outer world is a perfect mirror of your inner assumptions. Every single detail, your bank account included. So if your spending feels chaotic, reactive, or slightly out of control, that pattern is showing you something. The chaos lives inside first. The receipts just document it. Here's where most people get stuck. They try to fix the spending. Budget apps, spreadsheets, cash envelopes, the 30-day no-buy challenge. And those tools can help with symptoms. But you've probably noticed the cycle. You white-knuckle your way through a month of discipline, then one stressful Tuesday unravels the whole thing. You're back at square one, wondering what's wrong with your willpower. Your willpower was never the issue. The assumption underneath was. Florence Scovel Shinn described money as a manifestation of the divine supply, limitless, flowing, always available. She said poverty consciousness was the only dam, and that dam gets built early. Really early. Before you ever earned your first paycheck, you'd already absorbed thousands of messages about what money means, who deserves it, and how much you're allowed to have. Maybe you grew up hearing, "We can't afford that." So often it became a prayer you accidentally memorized. Maybe wealth was spoken about with suspicion in your household. Rich people were greedy. Money changed people. Wanting too much was dangerous. Those sentences settled into your bones. They became assumptions, and assumptions, once installed, run on autopilot. You've watched this play out. You get a raise, and within 3 months your expenses have expanded to match. You receive an unexpected windfall, and somehow it evaporates before you can blink. The money leaves because something inside you believes it should. Something inside you still hears that old voice whispering that abundance like this can't last. That you're borrowing time. This is what spending habits actually reveal. Every unnecessary purchase is a conversation between your conscious desires and your subconscious beliefs. When those two are misaligned, the subconscious wins. Every time. You want to save, but you spend. You want to invest, but you hesitate. You want to charge what you're worth, but you discount yourself before the client even asks. The pattern is the proof. Now, a reasonable question rises here. If these beliefs were installed in childhood, before you had any say, how can you be held responsible for them? And the answer requires some honesty. You're right, you didn't choose the original programming. A 5-year-old absorbing scarcity from stressed parents had zero control over that. But you're reading this now, you're aware now, and awareness is where responsibility begins. The spiritual path has never been about blame. It's about authorship. Who is writing your story from this point forward? Neville was specific about the method. He called it revision. You take a memory, say, the moment you felt shame about money for the first time, and you replay it in imagination, but with a different ending. You rewrite the scene so thoroughly that the emotional charge dissolves. The memory loses its grip. You do this in a state of deep relaxation, right before sleep, when the subconscious is most receptive. This sounds simple, almost too simple, and yet the difficulty is in the sustained practice. Your mind will resist. It will tell you this is childish, that you're playing pretend, that real financial problems need real-world solutions. That resistance is the old belief defending its territory. Expect it, welcome it even. The fiercer the resistance, the closer you are to the nerve that needs healing. There's a practical layer here too. Start tracking your spending with a different eye. For 1 week, after every purchase, pause and ask a single question. What belief just expressed itself? You bought the cheapest option even though you could afford better. What does that reveal? You spent recklessly on something you don't need while neglecting something you genuinely want. What's the story underneath? You'll start noticing themes. Guilt purchases, where you spend to apologize for existing. Fear purchases, where you hoard supplies because some part of you expects the worst. Status purchases, where you buy proof that you're doing okay because inside, you're terrified you're falling behind. Each pattern is a thread. Pull it gently, and you'll find a belief it's attached to. One woman I once heard describe her transformation put it this way. She realized every time she bought something expensive, she immediately felt nauseous. A physical sensation in her stomach. When she sat with it instead of pushing it away, a memory surfaced. Her father's face when a bill arrived, that specific tightness around his eyes. She'd been carrying his anxiety for decades. She'd inherited his relationship with money, the way some people inherit eye color. Her healing started when she stopped treating the nausea as a problem and began treating it as a message. She'd feel it rise, place her hand on her stomach and say internally, "This fear belongs to a story that isn't mine. I release it with love." Some days it worked immediately. Some days it took 20 minutes. Some days it barely budged. She kept going. Within 6 months, her spending patterns had shifted in ways no budget could have engineered. She bought what she needed without guilt. She saved without hoarding. She gave without calculating. The external behavior changed because the internal assumption changed. That's the order. Always that order. But what about the voice that says you're being irresponsible? That spiritual work on money beliefs is just an excuse to avoid practical financial planning. This deserves a real answer. Practical tools matter. Understanding compound interest matters. Having a financial plan matters. The spiritual work doesn't replace those things. It removes the invisible resistance that makes you sabotage those things. You can have the best budget in the world. If your subconscious believes you don't deserve what that budget is building toward, you'll find creative ways to destroy it. You'll miss a payment. You'll forget to transfer. You'll treat yourself at exactly the wrong moment. The sabotage is sophisticated because the belief driving it has had years of practice. So the inner work creates the foundation that outer tools can actually stand on. Florence Scovel Shinn used affirmations as her primary method. She'd have people speak their new assumption into existence with conviction and repetition. Infinite Spirit, open the way for my great abundance. I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right. The language feels old-fashioned, maybe, but the mechanism underneath is timeless. You are declaring a new identity, and identity is the most powerful force in human behavior. When you say, "I am someone who manages money with wisdom and ease," you're placing an order with the subconscious mind. The subconscious takes that statement and begins filtering reality through it. Opportunities appear that you would have missed before. Spending impulses that once felt irresistible now feel optional. You start noticing money flowing in directions that align with who you've declared yourself to be. The key is persistence. Your old money story took years to build. It has neural grooves worn deep from repetition. The new story needs time to carve its own channels. Some mornings you'll wake up in the old belief, like waking up in a house you moved out of months ago. Disorienting, familiar, tempting to stay. Walk out anyway. The most liberating truth in all of this is that your spending habits aren't flaws to be corrected. They're symptoms to be read. They're the subconscious mind's way of showing you, in hard numbers and daily choices, exactly what you believe about yourself and your relationship to abundance. Most people never look. They just feel the shame and reach for another budget app. You're doing something different now. You're reading the mirror instead of cursing it. You're asking what the pattern means instead of just trying to break it. And that shift, from fighting your behavior to understanding the belief beneath it, changes everything about how money moves through your life. Your next purchase is already forming somewhere in your mind. A craving, a justification, a quiet pull towards something. Before you reach for your wallet, reach inward first. Ask the only question that matters: is this my choice, or is this my programming? The answer will tell you exactly how free you've become.